Fox Bet Sportsbook has the Suns as slight favorites to take a series lead, but they'll need a bigger contribution out of Chris Paul, who was held to just 10 points on 5 of 13 shooting while also committing a costly late turnover in Game 4. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard joining us now. Chris, what do you expect from Chris Paul and the Suns tomorrow with this one?
Well, Jen, I think I'm the only one on our esteemed panel that can say this. I've picked every game correctly so far. I'm 4 for 4 in the finals. So take this to the bank. Phoenix wins today. Is Shannon is too? I thought you had Phoenix in 5.
6.
All right, but anyway, all right. I got Phoenix winning tonight, and I think Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton bounced back. Ayton, this was his worst offensive game of the playoffs. 6 points. We know he had the 17 rebounds, but I think he bounces back with at least double-figure scoring. So I think that's big. But Chris Paul is going to play better. There's been all this hand-wringing about his struggles, and rightly so. 15 turnovers in the last 3 games. We get that. He was horrible in the Game 4. But overall for this series, these are Chris Paul's numbers. 21 points, 8.3 assists on 52% shooting. Like that, those are his averages. So he's not having a bad series. He was bad the last game. The 2 before that, he had a high number of turnovers, but he scored, he assisted pretty well. So I think he bounces back and has a big game. Here's the other thing, and I'm not going to totally discredit Jrue Holiday because he's big, he's physical, and he was deservedly on first-team All-NBA defense this year. But there's the talk that he's shutting down Chris Paul. When you look at the numbers, Chris Paul is 14 of 18 shooting when Jrue Holiday's on him. That's 78%. Chris Paul has 9 assists in 22 minutes with Jrue Holiday guarding him. The problem has been this. In those 22 minutes, Chris has had 7 turnovers against Jrue Holiday. He's got 7 against the other guys who defended him in 99 minutes. So Jrue has forced him to make some bad decisions, bother him a little bit. But Chris Paul he's too smart, he's too sure-handed, I believe, to keep this going with the turnovers. So I think he's going to get his 22 points, 8 or 9 assists, and cut down on the turnovers. I think Devin Booker's big, Ayton's better. And here's the other thing, guys. On the flip side, Chris Middleton. Just about every time in these playoffs that he's had a big game, he's followed it up with a poor one. Even Game 1 of this series, 29 points in Game 1 when Giannis was so-so, and then he follows that up with 11 points. Okay, against Brooklyn, he scores 38 one game. Follows it up shooting 9 for 26. You can go through the Atlanta 38 one game. Follows it up with 16 points. So I don't think we're going to see, especially on the road, Chris Middleton be close to what he was in Game 4. So I got Phoenix tonight or Saturday.
Yeah, I took Phoenix also. I agree with you, Chris. And I think the biggest thing with Ayton is that they need to get in the ball. I mean, give him an opportunity. He can post. Ayton has a nice turnaround game. He can pick and roll. You got to give him opportunity. I mean, reward the big guy. He seems to be the only guy that's getting rebounds. So you got to reward him on the other end by giving him some opportunity to get some buckets. They're going to have to do a better job of keeping Milwaukee off the glass. Milwaukee is a plus 26 in rebounding, plus 29 on the offensive end. With those kind of stats, Chris, the series shouldn't even be tied 2-2. Because when you get crushed like that on the glass, give this type of a team opportunities, you normally get beat. And it reared its head in Game 3 and 4. But the disparity seems to be growing. They're going to have to correct that. If I'm Monty Williams, I'm looking for a way to try to get Cameron Johnson a little bit more playing time because he's the guy that can stretch the defense by making shots. Mikal Bridges has 2 fewer points in Games 1, 3, and 4 than he had all of Games 2. He had 27 in Game 2. He has 25 in the other 3. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. And before I turn it over to you, Skip, if I'm Monty Williams, I'm going to DeAndre Ayton. I'm saying, big fella, whenever Giannis is on the floor, you're going to be on the floor. When he takes that early break in the first quarter, I'm going to come get you. But as soon as he get ready to go back in, I want you to watch him. As soon as he gets up off the bench and heads to the scoring table, I want you to go sit right next to him because you're going back into the ball game. Because that's the difference. If you look at him, Giannis has scored 34 points on Ayton, but it's taking him 33 field goals to get it. He's attempted 9 3-pointers on Ayton. He's attempted 1 against everybody else. He's shooting 80% against everybody other than DeAndre Ayton. He's shooting less than 40% on Ayton. That's your ball game. Ayton's going to have to mirror him. I don't care where he go. He go dap his brother up Fannis. I'm right there with you. Hey, bro, give me some of that, too. You my brother today, too. I'm going everywhere Giannis goes if I'm DeAndre Ayton. Thanasis, I think that's his name.
Okay, my turn. I have some breaking news. I just heard from our man Lil Wayne. He will be courtside tomorrow night in Phoenix. That means Chris Paul will be great tomorrow night because they are brothers. And every time Chris looks over and sees Wayne in the first row, he's in his comfort zone. Wayne is his good luck charm. Wayne calms him down and focuses him. And it's you can laugh or ridicule it all you want. It's no small thing for Wayne to be courtside, to be comfort zone courtside for Chris tomorrow night. I do think he'll bounce back. I do think he'll have a very good game, maybe not a great game, but I am still shook up and jarred. I don't have the prognostication genius that our man Chris Broussard has right now because I can't get through my head, through my thick skull, what I have witnessed from Chris Paul coming out of nowhere in Game 6 against my Clippers after our man Shannon Sharp had campaigned on that morning show for campaign to get more run, more minutes, and get Chris Paul out of there because he was starting to look old. That's what I heard going into Game 6. And then I saw him score 27 points late third all the way through the fourth quarter to knock my Clippers out of the playoffs. It was simply the greatest playoff game, the greatest game I've ever seen Chris Paul play. And that got followed up by a pretty great game in Game 1, and then leading up to Game 4 the other night. To me, that's the worst game I've ever seen Chris Paul play. I know Chris brought up that Oklahoma City game where he just melted down at the end of the game in the last minute. I got you. But somehow the magnitude of this in the finals, with Devin Booker having one of the greatest games of his career, all you had to do was close a deal in which you led by 9 early in the fourth quarter and by 5 with 5:30 left in the game. And it was Chris Paul.